Hello, welcome to this month's demonstration video for Smile, Create, Repeat. We're using supplies from the June 2019 surprise. And I drew this, humongous turtle, really small on this artist trading card. And if you watch part 1, there's a link in the description and you can watch me do that. And the reference photo will be in that video. Alright, let's get started. So if you're going to follow along on this video, I have a CD case that I'm going to use, and I'll show you how. If you want to grab that, I have my watercolor pencil, my yellow one, my blue marker, and one of the water brushes. So I'm going to start off by just putting a wash over the whole thing to get some color on there. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to lay in my pencil, my colored pencil. It's picking up some of the graphite, but that's all right. And I'm also going to try to remember that I only have blue, yellow, of course the green that'll make, and the different varying values of that. And I have my 5B pencil, which will make a dark gray. And then I have the white of the paper. So knowing I only have roughly 5 colors, including the white, I want to think about what I'm going to be doing here. So I started off by coloring in, just laying some yellow on there. Then I'm going to get my brush and really just wash it and see what happens. And I'm probably going to, okay, so you can see it's picking up some of the pencil there. So I have a tissue here. It picked up some of the graphite pencil. So I'm going to dab it with a tissue just to pick up some of the gray, and I also wanted to keep that part a little lighter. So what I'm doing is I'm not really coloring it in, I'm just getting some color on here as the base, the background, whatever, just to see what happens. And this is early stages of this illustration, so it's going to change. We're going to get more color over on top of this yellow, and we'll keep going from there. All right, now I'm going to go in. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to do this. I have the CD case. Just going to draw on it a little bit. Get some of this ink from the Tombow dual tip. I just use the brush pen for now. And now I'm going to use my water brush, get some of that. I tested this earlier and this is an intense color, so I'm going to add a little more water to it. Yep, it is. And going by the picture, squeeze a little more paint out. For the picture, I'm going to try to pay attention to the values. So I'm going to doing that behind the turtle to make his head pop out more. I'm going to go way back in and try to grab more of that color because it is intense. Yeah, I want that a little darker there. Okay. Go back in, and under here, this leg, this shell. Need more of the marker. And I could probably do some of this on my picture, which I'm actually going to later on. And I'll show you what that can do. So that was and I have a lot of ink there. And I think I need to, yep, okay. So what I did is I tried to wet that section, and now that's called wet into wet. So you wet the section first, then you add some paint to it. And now I'm looking at my drawing and the shadow goes there. So I did that. I'm cleaning off my brush on my tissue, and now I'm going to soften this edge by introducing water to where that edge was. See how that softened that up right there. This is still too light. Let's try going right in with the pen, but I don't want it too dark, so I'm actually not going to do that. Because I was going to do this here, but this shadow of this shell is much lighter than under here, this shadow here, so I want to make sure I keep the value structure working, as in the darkest part is still the darkest part. So let's, but I do want to add in some more dark there. Okay, and I think I'm going to go in and do the shadow here. So I'm wetting this part, the part underneath the turtle, because I want this shadow kind of to blend in with part of the turtle. So you can see how that blends in there. And this side of the shell is pretty light. So we need to make this background darker so that shell pops out. And that is probably a little darker than I want it to be, or a little more blue than I want it to be. So we'll see if we can feather that, which it does seem to work, which was good. And I'm just softening that edge. See if we can bring that down. All right. So there's some neat lighting effects going on there. I'm gonna let that dry and then see if we can come back in with some of the yellow pencil, again with the pen, and see if we can, let's see what we can do with that. All right, so that's dried, and I have some of my ink still on my CD tray, CD case cover, and it's dried, but I think that'll be fine. I'll be able to go right back into it with some more water, and it'll work just fine. So I'm going to do I'm going to use the yellow to add more color. And texture to this art. Okay. And I'm going to do some yellow down here, but I'm going to go in, I know I'm going to go in with the blue again to try to mix that a little, to make that, try to get that to be a little green, not just the straight blue. And I need some of that blue back under here. And then I soften that edge by adding more water to it. And I'm just adding some of the details of the texture of the shell, the cracks. Well, I don't think they're cracks, but And I don't want to draw it on like it's a coloring book. Excuse me. So I'm just trying to suggest they're there. And those little details really add some punch to the drawing, I think. And let's add a little bit more water here, again wet. Then I'm going to add color to it, and that'll create the soft edge I'm looking for. And with these colors, we also have the playing of the warm and the cool. So the warm yellow, the cool blue, and mixes here. This green is actually a warmish green, I think. And the blue is kind of, well, I don't know, it seems like a little warm one here, except really intense blue, it's a little cooler. But let's see what else we can do. I'm going to go back, excuse me, and try drawing with the pen in the wet, or not, just to see if it'll bleed. Cross-hatching, hatching. So that is very intense, so I'm going to go back in and soften that up. And that's where the shadow is. And let's get some of this dark way up here. And get it on the neck, the head. All right, now I'm going to go back in with the brush. And I'm just going to get just that edge to soften it up and feather it up there, just so it's not such a hard transition here. And this is the shadow underneath the shell, underneath the turtle. Make that darker, soften that. And bring some of that down. Okay. And finally, I'm going to let that dry again. Actually, I'm going to go back, grab a little bit more of my blue, and I'm just going to do just a little here. Clean my brush off and then bring that up onto the shell, just because I want to make that a little bit darker there, so the neck, the light really catches the neck, because that's a lot of reflected light. It's funny because there's the sunlight is coming this way, but that is in the light too from there, but also the tree cover is playing games with the lighting. All right, so I'm going to let that dry and then come back in a minute. All right, I think that's dry. I'm going to go in and show you a neat thing to do here to get some splatter. So you have the brush tip. I'm going to get that. And I want a little texture on the ground. So I'm just going to flick the brush over the tip of the brush the water brush onto the tip of the marker and see what happens. So you saw a little bit of splatter there. Can also do it with some of the ink that was on there, just to add a little bit of fun watercolor-ish effects. But you can try that. You can also, of course, get some ink on your palette there, get it on your brush, and do it with your finger like this, and flick it like that. That'll give you a little bit. Two different ways to try it. All right, so what I'm going to do again is I'm going to go back in. I just sharpened my pencil good, and really just add any more details that I might like to my sketch, I guess. Maybe is there a certain part that might want a little bit. You'll have to do that. You're the artist, so you decide. This is really the art part. Maybe you want to try to do a little more attention to the head. So you do a little bit to the eye, this scaly skin, maybe sharpen that edge like I did right there. Maybe some sticks or some rocks, just some debris, maybe show that. Refine the toes on the turtle and the creases in his dinosaur-like skin. If you look at that leg, it looks just like Jurassic Park. The dinosaurs from that. Maybe this this shell is not a sharp edge. This curves around a lot. So maybe what I just did helps show that curve. And then it comes up to a crease here. This is a bottom edge, which is also this edge here. That comes in small, bigger. Yeah. Maybe we put a couple more. And I want to keep it mostly down here, and here, up here is soft and not really a lot going on. Yeah, but I think that, and then you can add the details. Maybe there's that. This is an old turtle, so he's got some, or she, I don't know, has some, maybe some marks on him, or her. And again, I'm trying to keep this light. That's those scratch marks. Pencil marks are from my initial drawing. So I think that's it. So actually this foot has that light on it, all that white paper from the blue. So I'm gonna go in, just get a little blue on my ink, on my brush, excuse me, and just knock that down because I don't want that blue, because it's not. And I'm going in with a little paint, a little more, because like I said, that was, maybe we can add some more texture with this brush, and maybe that blends in with that other color. And I think that's it. So I hope you like that. Water brush, water-soluble ink on a brush marker, water-soluble color pencil, and a Kimberly pencil on the Strathmore watercolor trading cards. So I hope you like this video demonstration with these supplies. in the CD case. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I hope you have a great month, and remember to smile, create, repeat.